Hey everyone, on today's episode of the Senstennial Podcast, we are back with another Sens summer recap. And today we're going to be talking about Ottawa's trade for defenseman Jordan Spence that took place at the draft. This was a trade with the LA Kings, kind of came out of nowhere, but this happened soon after Ottawa traded back in the draft. They moved from the 21st overall pick to 23, and in the process, they picked up the third round pick. I believe it was the 67th overall pick. And shortly thereafter, they moved that draft pick and future sixth round pick to acquire Jordan Spence. Now, I think LA beat writers were expecting a little bit more than two draft picks, mid round, late round draft picks for a defenseman who had really emerged as a solid bottom pairing defenseman with some top four upside. Jordan Spence is signed through this coming season at $1.5 million, so a really affordable contract. Obviously, the Sens, they still have a bit of cap space, but they're trying to find those contracts that are really good value, and that led them to acquiring Jordan Spence. So I'll flip it over to Bennett. And what did you think when Ottawa went out and acquired another right-hand defenseman to bolster their blue line?
Yeah, I think it was a great move. The Sens did not have to give up a lot to get him. He is cost controlled for a full season after this, gives the team time to figure out what kind of player he is and whether he's a fit for the team long term. And if that's the case, to potentially get a deal done before next summer. I think that we touched on this in our draft episode, but right-hand defensemen are extremely valuable. They can be hard to come by, and the Sens have not drafted a lot of them up until the last two drafts. So the pipeline was until recently pretty much bare for the team. So it's great to get another one in the system. I think that we've seen now that Zub is a player who, well, great when he's healthy and playing, does tend to miss a couple of dozen games per year, pretty much like clockwork. So it'd be great to have some reinforcements on the blue line. I think we have an opportunity perhaps to discuss the departure of our dearly beloved Travis Hamonic. Truly one of the worst defensemen I have ever seen play for this team. And getting rid of him and replacing him with a young, cost-controlled, you know, signed for 1 year right-hand defenseman who has promising analytics is a breath of fresh air and hopefully a step in the right direction for the team, not just in terms of bringing in a talented player who can make an impact, but also in showing that they're thinking more like the kind of front office that we want them to be. And like targeting a guy like Spence, I think shows that the team is starting to, improve their per scouting, starting to maybe, put a little bit more weight behind analytics. It always has to be a combination of, you know, the eye test and the stat test, but I think it's a smart move, and I think it's something that'll make the team ultimately better coming next season.
Matt, how did you feel about the Jordan Spence trade?
I was golfing when it happened, and I have to say, I was stoked the rest of the round. I think it was just such a low risk and high reward play. Um, couldn't seem to find his footing in LA. Despite having very good offensive numbers and being very solid defensively. And shocker, the D coach in LA is DJ Smith, who loves to use actually Bennett. That's how we get here. That's how we get to Travis
Yeah,
Hamonic.
yeah.
Wow, that was a Travis Hamonic exception.
Hamonic
Um,
to LA
yeah,
Kings confirmed.
electric boogaloo. Um, yeah, I mean, everybody that wrote about this pickup for the Sens loves it, and the Athletics model seems to love it. His contract is very low cost at 1.5 million, but the Athletic had his market value at 5.2, which I think might be a bit inflated. Their numbers generally are, but even still, I think the most solid addition here is you have a 25-year-old right shot defenseman who can play wherever in your lineup. He can play on the third pairing, which you see Travis Green consistently playing quite a few minutes a night. It was almost as if the third pairing was getting 18 to 20 minutes a night sometimes, just to kind of be equal. Um, and then with the questions of Nick Jensen's health at the start of the season, he may very well get a look at playing with Thomas Chabot or even Jake Sanderson, having Zub slot down. I think Steos is a very calculated person in that he goes, finds things that he think will improve his team long term, and he goes out and gets it. And Steos is just one of those guys that I just love his calculation. And this Spence pickup is one of those things that makes me really excited because, quite frankly, like, you're getting rid of a bad NHLer. You're having a guy who is now generally probably in Matt and Paolo going to be playing as your seventh defenseman, and Jordan Spence, who can defend well and put up solid offensive numbers in a third pairing role and is able to move wherever. Like, that's money.
Yeah, I really like this trade as well. I was not golfing when the trade went down, but yeah, I was actually on vacation and I'm trying to remember exactly where I was. I think I was about to go like whale watching or something. It was like a really random moment where I was like, "Oh, I want to be reading about this, but I mean, whales." So, yeah, but again, we were talking about the analytics. He's a guy who had even strength, had really positive both offensive metrics and defensive metrics. He also was a positive on the penalty kill and on the power play. He was kind of like a neutral presence. He didn't hurt the offense, but he didn't truly help the offense. I don't think he'll get much power play time anyway on the Sens, so that's not really a concern for me. Yeah, anyway, younger guy. Sens will have control over him going into the offseason next year when it comes to signing rights because he'll be an RFA. So that's also really good news for them. I think there's a lot to like about this pick and or sorry, this trade. But yeah, and especially when you're turning from a guy like Travis Hamonic, who, like Bennett said, was one of the Ottawa Senators defensemen of all time, especially in his own end. It was every night, it felt like he would do something that would lead to a goal against. So when you take a player like that out of your lineup who analytically that you couldn't get much worse defensively to a guy who's positive defensively, that's great. And if Jensen's out to start the season, well, now you're insured because now you have Zub, Spence, and Matt and Paolo. So when Jensen comes back, like Matt said, maybe Matt and Paolo draws out. We'll see, but they have options now. And I don't think last year the option, like Hamonic, once he was that seventh option, you're like, man, I just hope nobody on that right side gets injured. And I think the
Yeah.
coaching staff felt the same way because Jensen played like half the season injured. And even when he wasn't as effective, they still weren't scratching him or putting him on IR in favor of Hamonic. Like, that's how important down the stretch not playing Hamonic was to the Ottawa Senators. And that says a lot. So I think that's the biggest thing. And yeah, I don't have much more to say than that. Like 28 points in 79 games, good player, and we'll see what he could do with the Ottawa Senators. I could see his point totals taking a bit of a dip because I don't know how prominent of a role he'll have on the team. But either way, I think he's a guy that going into next summer could be an easy replacement for Jensen, especially with the money going out the door and the cap going up again. So very interesting player to watch, and yeah, that's all for me. So I don't know if you guys had any other thoughts on that, how it impacts the lineup at all.
I
I mean, I will say that it does leave the team still with a little bit of cap flexibility. We have about 4.3 million in projected space right now heading into the season. Not a huge amount. But it does leave the door open for the team to maybe add another player, maybe at the deadline, or if they really wanted to like take a swing, move some salary out and acquire a bigger name. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that Steos would do. I think he seems to be more of a uh, steady wait things out approach as a GM, which I think, to be honest, is a welcome change from kind of the. I mean, there was no one that loved to trade more than Pierre Dorion. We know that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he loved making moves, and a lot of them didn't work out, right? Took a lot of big swings, which looked great at the time, and the three of us, sat on this pod and talked about how cool and exciting they were, and they ended up not panning out. So you know what? I think, uh, you know, uh, giving up minor assets for a cost-controlled young defenseman and giving them a shot to, secure for themselves either a bottom six or a top four role is a low risk, potentially high reward move. And that's the kind of thing that we want to see the team doing. I mean, big swings are great, they're exciting, they're fun for us who get to come on here and talk about, a big story, but at the end of the day, doesn't always work out, and then you're left holding the bag. So I like this kind of move. I like the kind of approach that it speaks to, and I'm really interested to see the team that takes the ice in October.
Yeah, ultimately we sent picks for a player that can play right now, and not good picks either, to be honest with you. A third and a sixth, and a player that can contribute, a player that can provide an upgrade, a significant upgrade, in my opinion, to our lineup, where you're expecting to see improvements next season. I think this move does just that. So I really like it, and yeah, I'm stoked about it.
Awesome. On that note, love to see the trade for Jordan Spence. Thanks for hanging with us with this recap. Next up, we'll be talking about Ottawa's moves at free agency. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks, and go Sens go.
Go Sens go.
Go Sens go.